Once again, we're camping up here on a ridge, so we've got a beautiful view. It was a hard slog up the hill to get here. Yesterday we had to carry extra water because there's no water up here. And it was hot and it seemed like a difficult time. Plus we had a bit of a lightning storm scare. Another hiker came down the trail without his pack, saying that they'd been seeing lightning up on the top, and so we dropped our packs in the trail and hiked down a bit, kind of waited for it to dissipate. It finally did. So then we came on back up, but we didn't get up here until 7 or something. So it was another late evening. We're packed up, ready to go for the next day here.
It's the morning of day 63. We've just come to this big saddle, and it's really nice. If I walked over there, you could see more. Yeah, pretty.
We're making our way down. We've come down 1,200 feet from where we spent the night. So it's a little warmer down here, and the sun is full on us. We're trying to get to a creek down here where we'll take our second breakfast. We're actually late on getting our second breakfast, but with coming down, it's actually difficult to find spots where Linda could do her exercises and where it's comfortable to sit, because the side of the mountain that we're walking across is so steep. But so we're waiting to get down to the creek here to take care of all that. Chimney Creek is where we were going to get water. Although there's a water source a couple miles further down the trail that I think we're going to go to. There's also a campground here, but when we got here we found there was trail magic. This is the same guy who gave some trail magic at the Walker Pass campground. He's a hiker. He and his girlfriend were on the trail, and he actually broke his leg on the trail. So he's got there with his pink cast, and girlfriend's continued on, but he's obviously off the trail. We're climbing up this hill. We had like, 2,000 feet to gain before we get to our campsite. This is the last big climb before we get to Kennedy Meadows south. And we're laboring up this hill in the heat of the day. We're supposed to come to a stream here. We're gonna collect some water. I want to show you this water source down here. There's not many natural water sources through here. We passed a creek up back there where they had the trail magic, because Gut Hook comments said, or Far Out comments said, that this was here, and so took a little bit of a risk. The latest comment was from a week ago, but I think this creek will be flowing pretty strong probably all summer from the looks of it right now. I'll show it to you down here. Start to hear it. To push through the bushes. And here it is. Beautiful creek, the little waterfall. So I'm glad we didn't haul water. Almost 1,000 feet vertical gain from the other creek down there. Still have more to haul it, but at least we didn't have to spend that energy. This is what I like to do on these hot days. Take my Tilly hat, soak it in the water, and put it on my head. Just let it run down. There we go. That'll keep me cool for a little bit anyway. We got this rocky outcropping there. It seems kind of out of place. There aren't really any other things like that around here. And it's got that cave in it. So that's very intriguing. but I guess we'll pass on exploring it this time around. This is dinner tonight. Looks delicious, doesn't it? Linda was the cook, so Linda, why don't you tell us what you made for us?
It's a Knorr garlic chicken pasta, and we added Meadow, a whole milk, dehydrated milk, to make it more creamy, and we added little sausage pieces for some protein.
Yum, yum. Our campsite tonight is in the middle of the scrub here. There are several sites here. We're the only ones here, although there's somebody up there. Somebody else camping. Another hiker pair, looks like. But beautiful evening. We had dinner first so that we could spread out our sit pads and not be in the way of the tent. So we're about to put the tent up and climb in and go to bed. Tomorrow we arrive in Kennedy Meadows, which is another one of those big milestones. It officially means we're done with the desert and ready for the Sierras portion. So it's kind of funny and far out. The map, as I said before, the Southern California map ends in Tehachapi, and this last stretch that we've been doing since Tehachapi has been on the Sierras map, but in reality we've still been in the desert. It's been very deserty, very hot, and really much the same terrain that we went through in most of Southern California, with kind of changing between desert scrub and more forest depending upon our altitude. But so with Kennedy Meadows, you're definitely heading into the Sierras. It's a beautiful morning. Today we arrive at Kennedy Meadows. And we're ready to hit the trail.
Morning of day 64. It's just before 6 o'clock. Mornings are always no fun to get up early and pack up. Packing up gets tiring, but it's actually my favorite time of hiking. Once we get out on the trail, it's just so fresh and pleasant, and I like the colors. And here we are crossing over into a area where we're starting to see some of the early mountains in the Sierras. Yesterday you could see a little bit further on and see some mountains with the snow on it, but anyway, we're heading towards the Sierras, and today we actually get to Kennedy Meadows South, which is pretty exciting, because that's what you're thinking of when you leave Campo, is get through the California desert and get to Kennedy Meadows. Yay! So we're pretty excited about that today. I'm also excited that I get to sleep in tomorrow morning. I always like those days. Anyway, isn't that just gorgeous? Beautiful.
We've made it this morning to Manter Creek. Very cheery little brook here, and some nice tent sites alongside it. I don't know whether we really need water here though. Kennedy Meadows is less than 10 miles away, and I think I have enough water, so I'm not inclined to add to my weight.
We are in the last 8.5 miles towards Kennedy Meadows South, and this is what it's looking like. Isn't that pretty? We've dropped down some elevation already. I think we've got more to drop. Only to climb it again out of Kennedy Meadows, of course. We're going to climb really heavily out of Kennedy Meadows. But this is an awfully pretty valley. Just got our first glimpse of the Kern River, which is the biggest water we have seen for a while. So that's kind of exciting.
Wow, look at this.
700!
We're at mile 700 on the PCT. Congratulations to us and everybody else that walks past these rocks.
Hey, where are we going, Brian? Or Grits? Where are we going, Grits?
Kennedy Meadows.
Kennedy Meadows! So we've walked along and above a meadow called Kennedy Meadows. That's the Kern River. And we're getting close to the road that we take into the little settlement called Kennedy Meadows. But there's some houses over there with the river running through. I think this is just a really lovely spot. How peaceful.
Somewhere in here is Linda. Oh, I recognize that backpack anywhere. So we're coming out to the, what's it called, the Sherman Pass Road. So this is actually where the PCT intersects this road. And Kennedy Meadows is down this way a mile on this hot asphalt road.
We're excited, but we're not excited about walking this road.
I guess it's official that we're at Kennedy Meadows. Okay, we're arriving at the general store. Glad we don't have to buy gas here since it's $7.49 a gallon. A traditional welcome for the hiker at the Kennedy Meadows General Store.
$702 every mile counts, man. Yeah. Come for the desert. Come for the desert by foot. In this heat.
Here at the general store, Kennedy Meadows South, they let you camp on their grounds, kind of just back wherever you find a spot. We camped here. It was a good spot. I thought it's near what they call the amphitheater, and sometimes they show movies at night, and I thought it might get noisy, but they didn't seem to show any movies last night, so it wasn't bad. There was some chatting from other campers for a while, but that didn't go on too long. So I actually had a good night, and we're gonna go partake of their breakfast. It's supposed to be all-you-can-eat pancakes as well as other things, eggs, bacon, sausage, whatever. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be pulling out of Kennedy Meadows South here. It's about 3:30 or 3:45 in the afternoon. Still hot, but hopefully it'll start to cool off. But we want to get 3 or 4 miles down the trail There's a Forest Service campground that far down. That'll give us a little bit of a jump. We need to be at Horseshoe Meadows on Thursday by noon or so in order to get picked up by Lone Pine Kurt. He's a guy who provides transportation to and from the trailheads. We used him 5-6 years ago when we did the JMT, and we're glad to see he's still helping out hikers. So, but we have to be there in time to meet him, so we want to make sure we get there in time. It's probably about 50 miles from here to where we turn off the PCT to get to that trailhead. So it'll take us 3 days or so. And so we'll be departing Kennedy Meadows soon. So we're marching out of Kennedy Meadows south now. We've made a big deal of saying that we were at Kennedy Meadows and this was the end of the desert and the beginning of the Sierra, so why are we still walking through desert scrubby looking type vegetation? Well, I guess we're walking these 3 miles pretty much on the same elevation as Kennedy Meadows, so it's a continuation of what was around Kennedy Meadows, but I believe starting tomorrow we're going to do some significant climbing, and I expect to say goodbye to this sage scrub type vegetation. Now we are getting into more trees. You can see them up there. More alpine looking trees. I kind of wish all of our hiking days were this short. I don't think we walked more than an hour and a quarter from Kennedy Meadows to get to this campground. This is the Kennedy Meadows campground, Forest Service campground. Apparently free. There are outhouses. The water spigots are turned off, so we have to go down to the Kern River to get our water. But we have a very roomy site. If any other hikers come along and want to join us, they're of course free to do so. We have to watch out for these trees. They drip sap at this time of year. So we try to make sure we're outside of the main body of the tree anyway. We were going to put it up there on that flat spot, but I noticed some glistening drops on the ground of sap, so we don't want to have sap dripping on our tent, and we don't want to put our tent up on sap that's already fallen. So now we're going to head down to the river and get some water. I wanted to mention our shoes. It was kind of a shock to me when we first started learning about thru hiking that you don't do it with just the same pair of shoes. The foot experts tell you that you should not do more than 400 to 500 miles on a pair of shoes. So that means that you can have a pair of shoes that don't really look all that beat up, but the cushioning in them has been squashed down, and if you continue to use them, supposedly it's bad for your feet, your legs, everything. So you should really plan on replacing your shoes every 350 to 500 miles. And these shoes aren't cheap, so shoes that you get on the trail are actually kind of an expense. But in order to stay healthy, I guess that's one of the costs you have to pay. This is my second pair of shoes, and I'll probably be replacing them in the next 50 miles or so.